Hey, this is a video on a playlist. This is a really fun list. Topography. This one's on springs. Deuteronomy 4:49 is the springs of Pisgah. Pisgah. It says, and all the plain on this side Jordan eastward, even unto the sea of the plain under the springs of Pisgah. Okay, so we know the sea is the water's. I'm a flat earther. If you guys didn't check out the Flat Earth series here, water always finds its level. Welcome to Flat Earth. And there's a spring that is under. Okay, the sea of the plain, which is under the springs of Pisgah. How about Joshua 10:40? Joshua smote all the country of the hills of the south and of the vale and of the springs and all the kings. He left none remaining. He utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Lord God of Israel commanded. It was Joshua 10:40. Joshua 12:8 says, in the mountains and in the valleys and in the plains and in the springs and in the wilderness and in the south country, the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and the Jebusites. Joshua 12, but like I said, I doesn't see the whole thing, but let's get the whole thing here for a minute. All right. Okay, Joshua 12 is called recapitulation. The kings conquered east of the Jordan. Kings conquered west of the Jordan. Okay? So it says, these are the kings of the country when the Israelites conquered and despoiled their kingdoms beyond Jordan eastwards, from the Wadi Arnon to the mountain country of Hermon, with all the Arabah eastward. Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon, ruled over Aroer on the edge of the gorge of Arnon, or of the Arnon. And with this went the bed of the gorge over half of Gilead to the Wadi Jabbok. Wadi, W-A-D-I. Okay, the boundary of the Amorites, and eastwards over the Arabah to the Sea of Chinneroth on the one side, and to the Sea of Arabah, the Salt Sea, towards Ben Jeshimoth, where you come to the foothills of Pisgah. Okay, we just talked about Pisgah. Okay, so that must be the directions to Pisgah. Okay, anyway, Og, the king of Bashan, was once one of the last of the Rephaim, who lived at Ashtaroth and Endradi, ruled over Mount Hermon and over, I just wrote out Salikah, and over the whole of Bashan as far as the boundary of the Gershites and the Machalites, and over half of Gilead to the boundary of Sihon, the king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and with him the Israelites, conquered these kings. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, had given their possessions to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the country whom Joshua and the Israelites conquered westward of the Jordan, from Baal Gad to the vale of Lebanon to Mount Halak, rising towards Seir, Joshua allotted their inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to their divisions, in the highlands and the lowlands, in the Arabah and on the hillsides, and in the wilderness and the Negeb, in the territories of the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, Hivite, and the Jezebite. And then lists all the kings. Like, I think that I don't want to read all that. Okay. But that was definitely some topography there. All right, hold on. With the gorge, I might have to add gorge in there. Okay, so and it's interesting that KJV reads for Joshua 12:8, in the mountains and the valleys and the plains and in the springs. Okay? This one says, these are the kings of country conquered westward from Baal-Gad to the Vale to Mount Halak, rising toward Seir. Joshua allotted the inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to the divisions. This one says, in the highlands and the lowlands, in the Arabah and on the hillside, and in the wilderness and in the Negeb. Okay, so what does yours say for Joshua 12:8? Does it say springs? Because mine says Negeb, Negeb, in this book. Okay, but this is not King James. King James says springs. Or lowlands. This one probably says lowlands, really. Highlands and lowlands. I don't know. Anyway, how about springs of the sea? That's Job 38:16. Springs of waters in there, Joshua 15:19. Give me a blessing. Thou hast given me the south land. Give me also springs of water. And he gave her the upper springs and the nether springs. And who did he give? This was Caleb. He gave his sister Achsan, 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 I don't know how she pronounced it, but Caleb gave his sister Achsan to be the wife of a war hero, Othniel. That is Judges 1:15. Oh no, sorry, that was Joshua 5:15. Joshua 15:19. Actually, it's probably the same story. Okay. Psalms 87:8, as well the singers as the players on the instruments shall be there. All my springs are in thee. Psalms 104:10, he sendeth the springs into the valleys which run among the hills. He turneth rivers into a wilderness and water springs to a dry ground. Psalms 107:33. He turns wilderness into a standing water and dry ground into water springs. Psalms 107:35. Isaiah 35, parched ground shall become a pool and thirsty lands of spring water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay shall be grass with reeds and rushes. I'll read the whole section one more time. Isaiah 35:7. The parched ground shall become a pool. I think that means a puddle. And the thirsty land, springs of water, in the habitation of dragons, where each lay. Where do the dragons lay? wherever it is, it's grass with reeds and rushes. R-U-S-H-E-S, rushes. Isaiah 41:18. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make a wilderness a pool of water, and dry land springs of water. Isaiah 49:10. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat of the sun smite them. For he has mercy on them, and shall lead them, even by the springs of water he shall guide them. Jeremiah 51:36. Thus saith the Lord, I will plead thy cause, and take vengeance for thee. I will dry up her sea, and make her springs dry. It's a message from the Quran. It's probably chapter 7, line 160. We divided them into 12 tribes as distinct communities, and when his people asked him for water, Moses inspired Moses to strike the rock with his staff so that 12 springs gushed out. Each tribe knew its own drinking place. We gave them the shade of clouds and sent down to them manna and quails. We said, eat the good things we have provided for you. They did not wrong us, they wronged themselves. Another message from the Quran, probably chapter 2, line 60. And remember, when Moses prayed for water for his people, we said, strike the rock with your staff, and 12 springs gushed out. Each tribe knew its drinking place. And then said, eat and drink of Allah's provisions, and do not go about spreading corruption in the land. The Khan version says, making mischief on earth. Now there's in Numbers 21:17 says, Israel sang a song, spring up, O well, sing ye to it. Numbers 27. Let me see how long that is. Hold on. Because that sounds pretty fun. It's called The Inheritance of the Daughters. Then there came forward the daughters of Zelophehad. And he was the son of Hefer, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Messiah. And he belonged to the clans of Messiah, the son of Joseph. These are the names of his daughters: Mala, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. They appeared before Moses and before Elijah the priest and before the leaders and the whole community at the entrance of the tent meeting and said, our father died in the desert, and he was not one of the company of those who conspired against the Lord. Korah's party. It was for his own sins that he died without son. So why must our father's name be lost to his clan, since he had no son? Give us some property among our father's kinsmen. And Moses took their case before the Lord, and the Lord spoke to Moses. He said, the daughters of Zelophehad have a just case. Give them property for their inheritance among their father's kinsmen. Pass on to them their father's inheritance. They say this to the sons of Israel: if a man dies without sons, his inheritance is passed to his daughter. If he has no daughter, the inheritance goes to his brothers. If he has no brothers, it goes to his father's brothers. If his father has no brothers, it goes to the members of his clan, who is the most nearly related. He is to take possession. This shall be a statutory ordinance for the sons of Israel. Okay, so that's good. Okay. We got springs out of the depths and out of the valleys and out of the hills. Deuteronomy 8, the Lord God bringeth thee to a good land, lands of brooks of water, of fountains, and depths that spring out of valleys and hills. Caleb gave her the upper springs and the nether springs. That's Joshua 15:19 and Judges 1:15. Now, spring of the day, I guess, I don't know what they mean by that. Spring of the day is in there. 1 Samuel 9:26. It says they rose early, came to pass about the spring of the day that Samuel called to Saul to the top of the house, saying, Get up, that I may send thee away. And Saul rose, and they went out, both of them, and he and Samuel abroad. And then we have springing, like as a verb, grass springing out of the earth. So that's in there with springs. How about 2 Kings 2:21? He went forth into the spring of the waters, and he threw salt in there. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, I have healed these waters. There shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. He threw salt into the spring. Okay, we got 2 Kings 19:29. This shall be a sign to thee. Ye shall eat this year such things as grow of themselves, and in the second year that which springeth of the same, and in the third year sow and reap. So springeth. Trouble does not spring out of the ground. Job 5:6. Tender herb springs forth bud. Job 38:27. Truth shall spring out of the earth. That's Psalms 85:11. Out of context, but whatever. The wicked spring as the grass. When the wicked spring as the grass. When all the workers of iniquity do flourish. It is the day that they shall be destroyed forever. A righteous man that falls down before the wicked is as a troubled fountain and a corrupt spring. So don't give way in front of the assholes, keep going. SOS 4:12, my garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. Isaiah 42:9, behold, the former things are come to pass, new things do I declare, before they spring forth, I tell you of them. How about this one? Isaiah 45:8, drop down, ye heavens from above, let the skies pour down righteousness, let the earth open, let them bring forth salvation, and let righteousness spring up together. I, the Lord, have created it. Isaiah 58:8, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy health shall spring forth speedily, and the righteousness shall go before thee, the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, make fat thy bones, and thou shalt be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters fail not. It's Isaiah again, 58:11. 61:11, for as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causes the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all nations. See, we're out of context. It's not like spring as a topography where they have spoken words, swearing falsely, making a covenant. Thus judgment springeth up as a hemlock in the furrows of the field. How about Hosea 13? Though he be fruitful among his brethren, an east wind shall come. The wind of the Lord shall come up from the wilderness, and his spring shall become dry, his fountain dried up, and he shall spoil the treasures of all pleasant vessels. Joel 2:2. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring. For the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Here we go, John 4:14. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. And the last one I got is Hebrews 12:15. Looking diligently lest any man fail of the grace. Yeah, so you have to look diligently, otherwise grace could fail you, I guess. Okay, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and you may thereby be defiled. That was Hebrews 12:15.